Welcome to the Saturday Slam and Jam here on the Athletic NBA Dailies podcast and YouTube stream. If you're not listening or watching on YouTube, we'd appreciate if you guys would go check out the YouTube channel. Just search Athletic NBA Daily and go check that out. On today's show, we're doing our good, bad, and what? We're talking to Carter Rodriguez of the Chase Down Pod about the Cleveland Cavaliers and their kind of strange start to the season. And then we're going to do some trivia. But first, Al, tell me what happened in the NBA this week.
Well, Andrew, the top story this week was the firing of Mavs GM Nico Harrison. Less than 1 year since Harrison traded away Maxi Kleber for peanuts, Mavs owner Patrick Dumont decided he didn't have the patience to wait and see if more than two Mavs were going to shoot better than 29% from three this season. Now, Harrison said after the Luka trade that defense wins championships, and as of Friday morning, the Mavs have the fourth best defense in the league per cleaning the glass. And the offense is improving too. Earlier this week, Bobby Carella of DLLS shared a stat that the Mavs had the worst offense in NBA history relative to the league with a minus 11.8 relative offensive rating. Well, since then, the Mavs' relative offensive rating has climbed to minus 10.7, making them only the second worst offense in NBA history. With this kind of obvious progress, was Nico Harrison fired prematurely? Now that Harrison is gone, attention turns to the future of the Mavs. Will they trade Anthony Davis? If you listened to any podcast this week and heard the fake trade packages being offered for AD, no, they won't. But the good news for Mavs fans is that they control their own pick this year, something they won't be able to say again until the current class of 8th graders are eligible for the NBA draft. Now, in honor of Nico Harrison and his favorite saying, defense wins championships, let's go through the other teams in the top 4 for defense on cleaning the glass. Coming in at number 3, third best defense in the league is the Denver Nuggets. That's right, the Denver Nuggets, who currently sit at 9-2 on a 6-game winning streak. While it hasn't been a murderer's row of opponents, the Nuggets, and especially Nikola Jokic, have been impressive. In 4 games this week, Jokic put up a 37, 12.5, 9 line on, get this, 79, 75, 87 shooting splits. And what's crazy is that line from this week isn't that far off from what his overall season stats are. This guy's shooting 68.4% from the field for the season right now, averaging a 29-point triple-double, and shooting an absurd 78% on 2-pointers. Against the Clippers, who just lost Bradley Beal to a season-ending hip injury, Jokic put up 55, 12, and 6, tying SGA for the highest scoring game so far this season. After the game, Clippers head coach Ty Lue said, quote, "Our game plan was to make him score." Success. The second best defense in the league belongs to the Detroit Pistons, who are 10-2, atop the Eastern Conference. They've won 8 games in a row, the longest current streak in the NBA. In a comeback overtime win over the Wizards this week, Cade Cunningham put up 46, 12, and 11. Now, it wasn't the prettiest game, as it took Cade 45 shots to get his 46, but the Pistons got the win. Now, Cade is only the 13th player in NBA history to take 45-plus shots in a game, accomplishing something that guys like Russell Westbrook and James Harden never did.
Unreal.
Unreal. After the Wizards game, the Pistons needed a rest, which meant one of the more random box scores this season, as the Pistons backups got the win over the Bulls, who have lost 4 in a row. In the game, Paul Reed, B-Ball Paul, put up 28, 13, and 6 with 4 steals on 11 and 13 shooting. Rookie Danish Jenkins had 18, 4, and 12. Duncan Robinson had 7 threes. It doesn't matter who the Pistons throw out there right now. They are cruising. And next up is a Friday night showdown with the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the number 1 defense in the league, it's no surprise. It's the Oklahoma City Thunder. This week looked like it was going to be the first big test for the Thunder, facing a home back-to-back against the Warriors and Lakers. Instead, it was another chance for the Thunder to put the league on notice, winning the 2 games by a combined 53 points. OKC's vaunted defense, which per cleaning the glass is almost 7 points per 100 possessions better than Detroit, who is number 2, held Steph to 14 on night 1, while holding Luka and Austin Reeves to a combined 32 on night 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been doing his best 2016 Steph impression by sitting out his 6th and 7th fourth quarters of the season. And despite not playing in the fourth quarter in more than half of OKC's games, SGA is still averaging over 30 points per game, while also somehow leading the league in clutch points. OKC's winning ways are unlikely to end soon, as their next 4 games are Charlotte, New Orleans, Sacramento, and Utah. And those were the top defenses this week. Long live Nico.
Long live Nico. Didn't mention the Mavs there. That was kind of weird. More on the Detroit Pistons, who you just told us are the second best defense in the league. Part of that is their growing center, Jaylon Tyson. He's been really, really good. First, let's talk about their offense, though. He leads the league in points per possession as a pick and roll man. By the way, do we have to say roll twice there? Pick and roll man?
Pick and roll. I think you got to. I think you have to, Andrew.
We just can't say pick and roll man?
Pick and roll man. But is he the ball handler?
I think you can say pick and roll ball handler and you can say pick and roll man.
I don't know. I think of like James Harden. He was a pick and roll man. Like Chris
I
Paul
don't
was a
know.
pick and roll man.
I was just sitting there staring at pick and roll man, and I'm just like, is it necessary to have the roll there? Okay, anyways. He leads the league in points per possession for a pick and roll man at 1.46, which is better than Nikola Jokic right now, who is like an efficiency monster. But Jaylon Tyson's better right now, which is pretty cool. And the thing that's kind of holding their defense all together and making them this dominant is that teams right now are shooting 60% at the rim with Jaylon Tyson as the closest defender. That's similar to guys like Jared Allen, Isaiah Hartenstein, Daniel Gafford, Mitch Robinson. It's down like 7 percentage points. Like he was decent last year, but not very good. This year he's good. Like he's considered one of the best. And when you combine that with Beef Stew, who is literally, I think, the best rim defender so far this season, like it gives you like a good blueprint to have the second best defense in the NBA, and a huge reason why the Pistons have made this jump to 10-2, top of the Eastern Conference. And if he can continue to play like this on both ends, I think that it helps them be sustainable.
And Andrew, of course, that was your good of the week. I forgot to intro. Good, bad, or what?
What?
That was your good of the week, and
That's good.
That's a great good. That's a great good because he has been incredible, and it's just he was so young coming into the league,
Yeah.
and how people talked about him after those first couple seasons, and he has become the player we all thought, and he's still super young.
Yeah.
At this point,
It's probably because he looked ready, you know? Like if he
Yeah.
was skinny,
physically,
like
yeah, for sure.
if he was like super skinny, like Chet was or something, people would be like, you know what? Give him time. Give the guy time. But whenever you look like a man at 19 when you're entering the league, people are like, all right, he's clearly ready. But 19 and a half points, 12 boards, 1.6 assists, a steal and a block per game. Like we're starting to see him like start to develop into the player that he should be. And he is still 21, I think.
Yes, he turns 22 on November 18th. Happy birthday,
Man,
Jaylon.
21's crazy. Like that's
It is.
That's nuts.
Yeah, shout out to Troy Weaver. Pretty good drafter. Pretty good drafter.
He drafted some good players. He did.
My good this week was all the random ass guys hitting a ton of threes. One of the byproducts of the spacing revolution in basketball is that on any given night, any given guy can get hot from three because there's so many players who can take and make threes now. And we obviously had Aaron Gordon hit 10 in the first week of the season, but just this week we had 3 crazy ones.
Yeah.
First, in a game against the Clippers, which was a 3-point win, Hawks wing Vit Krejci hit 8 3-pointers. He went 8 of 10 from 3, scored a career-high 28 points. Shout out, Vit. A few nights later, his teammate, Onyeka Okongwu, who had only hit 4 threes once in his career, hit 8 in a game against Utah, going 8 of 14 from 3, also scoring a career-high 32 points. But the highlight of the week, on Monday, Grayson Allen finally got to double digits. He'd hit 9 threes in 3 different games during his career. But in a game against the Pelicans, Allen went 10 of 15 from 3, scoring a career-high 42 points. Grayson Allen. In the ranking of things that can happen during an NBA game, a random role player suddenly getting hot from three is one of my favorite things in basketball. And I was spoiled this week. I was checking some of these games as they were going on. Oh my gosh, we just keep going up and up and up. So Andrew, I wanna make a prediction.
Okay.
Who will be the next random role player to have 8+ threes in a game? Now I have a name, so I'll say my name. I'll give you a few seconds to think.
Okay.
You know, I'm giving myself points for the more obscure, the better. You know, I mean, obviously there are shooters. You know, you could say, "Oh, well, Sam Hauser will hit 12 threes." Okay,
Sure.
maybe,
Not
maybe
good enough. Not good
not good
enough.
enough. No, I'm talking random. You're not really thinking of him doing this. I'm going to go with Simone Fontecchio,
Okay.
who is only playing like around 20 minutes per game right now. But the
Mhm.
one game where he did play 27 minutes, he did hit 5 of 7 from 3.
Wow.
He's getting them up when he's out there. So I think if he gets hot in a game, it's possible we could get an 8 threes Fontecchio game.
Wow.
What do you think? You got any names popping into your head?
You know what? This is a guy that I think deserves to play more minutes, and he has, as of late, has played a little bit more. But
Okay.
Keon Ellis for the Kings.
Keon Ellis.
I've been a Keon
Okay.
Ellis fan for a long time. I think he needs to be set free, give the guy some minutes, and the Sacramento Kings could have an 8-3, rando role player here in Keon Ellis.
Now he did in that most recent game to Atlanta. They finally play him 31 minutes. Now
Finally,
they did lose by 33, but
they did.
he was 6 for 11 from 3. So he finally was able to get in range. He took 11 threes in that game. Previously, he's taken, like 4, 2, 1 because they're
Yeah,
just not playing him more than 15 minutes a game. So I think that's a good one because hopefully we're reaching a turning point with the Kings.
we're
Not like
scratch
in terms of them being better, but just deciding what they're going to do going forward.
just playing Keon Ellis. How about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, Andrew, what's your bad this week?
My bad this week is about player scoring in isolation. So last year, in the top 15 players in isolation possessions, the worst was Alperen Şengün at 0.86 points per possession. The
Hmm.
best, his teammate Kevin Durant,
Mm,
1.16.
mm.
Shea was near the top as well at 1.10. So far, I'm going to read some of the worst numbers here. KD right now
Really?
in the top 15 in isolation possessions is at 0.84.
Oh,
Tyrese
wow.
Maxey at
Hmm.
0.67,
Oh,
everybody.
my. Oh, my.
Giannis at 0.84, which is not a crazy number for him. He's been around that. Paolo, 0.84.
Mm,
Alpi is still one of the worst at 0.88, which is technically an improvement. And the worst, Ja Morant at
yeah.
0.52.
Oh, no.
Just like
God.
so bad. And I'm gonna spin this a little bit from a bad to a good. Most of these numbers have to get better. If you're the Rockets and you're winning and you have these guys that are
Yeah,
not,
for sure. Especially
scoring up to
KD.
their potential with KD and isolation, like that's going to get better. Tyrese Maxey is certainly going to be better than 0.67. And then Ja Morant, you just can't function at 0.52 in, per possession. Like that has to be better. Not that he's going to be some elite player, but typically like some of the worst are, like I said last year, the worst was 0.86.
Yeah.
So those numbers have to increase. So that's my bad, which is kind of spin it into a good there at the end.
Speaking of Ja, I did want to shout out friend of the show, Keith Parrish.
Yeah.
I listened to Grits and Grind from last Friday, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the best conversation I've heard about Ja Morant.
Yeah, I listened to this as well. I'm
It was
a big Grits and Grinds fan.
Yeah, it was just a really good conversation, kind of teasing out like how much of this is like him doing a Jimmy Butler style like
Yeah.
sabotage versus
Mm-hmm.
him just losing multiple steps as a player. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was a really good conversation. All right, Andrew, my bad. For my bad this week, I first want to talk about some good because one thing NBA podcasters we like to do is we talk about teams that are top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun to use as like a general marker of contenders. Per Clean the Glass, we have several teams that currently qualify: Denver, Houston, OKC, San Antonio, and yes, this is true, the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns. Now, That's fun. We'll track that over the season, but I'm more interested in what's happening at the other end of the spectrum, a place that I'm going to call the land of the lost, okay? Because these are teams that have no identity. They aren't good on offense, they aren't good on defense. They are bottom 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency per clean of the glass. The land of the lost. And currently, there are 8 teams in the land of the lost. 8 teams currently in the bottom 10 of both offensive and defensive efficiency. Now,
Wow.
this sounded like an especially large number of teams to me. So I went back through the Cleaning the Glass database to see how unique this was. So it goes back to 0304. I looked at the rankings after the first month in all of these seasons. And what I found was that there has never been this many teams in the land of the lost 1 month into the season. On average, through the first month, there's usually around 3.5 teams in the land of the lost.
Okay.
Before this season, we've never had more than 6.
Wow.
And now we have 8. They are Brooklyn, the Clippers, Washington, New Orleans, Sacramento, Memphis, Indiana, and Utah. All of those teams, bottom 10 in offense and defense. And I think there's several reasons for this. One is several teams that we expected to be competent, the Clippers, Memphis, and Indiana, were hit with injuries very early in the season, which knocked them off the pace. We also had a pretty big crop of teams that we expected to be tanking quality from the jump: Brooklyn, Washington, New Orleans, Utah. And then we have Sacramento, who are kind of their own thing. They're just Sacramento. They don't fall into either of those. I talked about scheduling earlier, or actually I'm about to talk about scheduling later. And I thought it'd be interesting to see which teams have played the most teams in the land of the lost, as just a general marker of who's gotten the biggest schedule boost so far. So, for instance, Detroit and Denver, off to hot starts. 5 of their games so far have been against teams that are in the land of the lost. OKC, who has the best record and point differential, they've played 8 of these teams. And they're about to play 3 more.
How is that possible?
Isn't that crazy? But there's one team whose schedule thus far, which has only been 13 games, has included 10 teams in the land of the lost. 10 of their 13 games have come against these 8 teams who are bottom 10 in offense and defense. And if you were paying attention earlier, you can probably guess it: the Phoenix Suns. Now, this isn't a shot at any of these teams. You know, you have to beat the bad teams, and you have to take advantage of any soft spots you're gifted in the schedule. And for a team like Phoenix, it's going to get a lot harder. Honestly, I thought they'd be one of these teams. So the fact they're beating all these bad teams, I think it's a great sign.
It's a good sign.
Now, looking at the teams in the land of the lost, Andrew, who do you think has the best chance of escaping, and what side of the ball will we see the jump?
Oh my gosh. All right, list the teams out for me again.
Okay. So, Brooklyn,
Yeah,
the Clippers, Washington, New Orleans, Sacramento, Memphis, Indiana, Utah.
I think Memphis, one of the big reasons why they are here is that they have had basically no center. Like the Jacques Landale, has been their starting center, and once they get, and I'm not the biggest Zach Edey guy, but I do think like the difference between the diff, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, is pretty big between Edey and Landale. So I do think that Memphis's defense, which was the way they survived, was defense, and so I do think like that will improve for them. So I would kind of bank on that one.
That was my pick as well. I mean, obviously I looked at the Clippers, and I do think as bad as losing Bradley Beal is, it does put them in a position where they're forced to play more of their defensive players.
Yeah,
so
that's
maybe
true.
we start see an improvement in their defense.
Yeah,
but yeah, those are the 2 units that I would expect to get better most quickly. So Andrew, that brings us to your what this week?
What? So as of Thursday, only 5 5-man groups have played at least 100 minutes together. There's some obvious ones. The Nuggets starters, they played the most minutes together. They're a plus 11.9, which is really good. The Bucks starters have played 144 minutes together and are a minus 4.8. And but that's not even neither of those are that weird. But the very best, Al, is the Orlando Magic starting lineup.
Yeah.
at a plus 19.6. Suggs, Bain, Franz, Paolo, Wendell, plus 19.6. I thought this team sucked. But listen, when you sub in Anthony Black for Jalen Suggs, which is the second most played lineup, by the way, for the Magic, they plummet to a minus 6.3 with just one change.
That's brutal.
And then, Al, if you change Anthony Black for Tyus Jones, what do you think happens?
It gets better?
It gets so much worse. Minus 54.4. And this is limited minutes, but like when we think about how bad the Magic have been to start the season, and like Jalen Suggs has had like this outsized like importance to this team. And we saw that last year, like when he went out, the bottom dropped out of this team.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more of that now as well. Because like Tyus Jones is supposed to be like in our heads, in our basketball imaginations, Tyus Jones is like this steady table setting point guard that like theoretically should be able to help you in so many ways. He hasn't really been that for a couple seasons. But part of me just thinks like this is going to level out. Like they're not going to be this good and this bad. I think eventually they've started to figure it out as we've seen the last couple of games for them. But the extremes that have existed so far with this team are like too wide right now.
Yeah.
Like for it to be a real thing. Like for the gap to be this like 70 something point, like a 75 point gap that we're seeing right now between the starters and the starters with Tyus Jones instead of Jalen Suggs. Like the gap is too big for it to be real. And so I would just like caution people that just think like the Orlando Magic are just like they just stink. Like I don't think so. I think they just are trying to figure out like some small nuances and like how do they survive minutes without Jalen Suggs is like something that is really important for them to figure out. They didn't really figure it out last year, and they need to start to figure it out this year. I think like that's got to be like the number one thing is like we can't be this bad without Jalen Suggs. Like it honestly doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, this will be the last season that a fan base gets excited about their team bringing Tyus Jones on. Because I feel like we've done this for a half decade.
Yeah.
And every fan base has been let down for several seasons in a row now.
True. It's true.
My what this week? It's about a big man that everyone is challenging right now. Picking on him, Andrew. On NBA.com, you can go to the defensive dashboard. You can sort by shots within 6 feet. It's a really fun stat just to see how often big men are having to deal with shots around the rim each game. Also, what opponents are shooting on those shots. And if you look at this season's defensive dashboard, something jumps out very quickly. Now, among players who have played at least 10 games this season, here's some of the names near the top in terms of field goals defended within 6 feet of the rim. So this isn't like good or bad. This is just guys who are defending a lot of shots around the rim. Evan Mobley, Nikola Vucevic, Scotty Barnes, interesting, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Nikola Jokic, Cooper Flagg, Miles Turner. It's a fun stat because some of these guys are defending those shots because their teams are funneling ball handlers towards them, knowing they've got a good rim protector behind them, while others, like Vooch, are probably being targeted, which is a good idea since his defensive field goal percentage on those shots is 66.3%. Now, all of those players I just mentioned defend between 6.6 and 7.5 shots per game within 6 feet of the rim, 6.6 to 7.5. Number one in the league in shots defended per game within 6 feet is Alex Sarr with a whopping 12.1 defended shots per game, dwarfing everyone else in the league. And while the Wizards' defense has been terrible, they are in the land of the lost, Sarr's defensive field goal percentage on those shots, 53.1%, which is really good. And this is just one indicator of the leap that Alex Sarr has taken this season. He's having a great second season, averaging 19, 9, and 4. He's cut back on his three-point attempts. He's become much more efficient overall. He went from shooting under 40% from the field in his rookie season to 53% this season.
Yeah, he's legit. Yeah.
There's a lot to like about his game right now, including the fact that he's getting an absurd amount of reps defending shots inside and is holding up really well with that defensive workload. But 12.1 per game is crazy, which is why that's my what this week. I mean, we saw it in Chet's rookie season where just because of the way he looks, even though he had this reputation as a good rim defender, he was just getting challenged so much. And I'm sure it's a mix of that. Also, like the Wizards' perimeter defense is not good, so he's just going to be facing a lot more shots.
Yeah.
But I was wildly impressed with that stat from Alex Sarr.
Yeah. A lot of it is that like the perimeter defense is like just see through, and you just get all the way to him.
He's
Every
got to do
time.
it. It's a great way for him to develop these skills, though.
100%. It is. There's a lot of like weird cheat codes that you can do while you're tanking and like while you're trying to get better.
Yeah.
Part of it is like if you have a big, it's like let's give him all the reps and like give him every kind of shot to defend at the rim. I do think it's a good thing.
Now, Andrew, before we go to our next segment, I did want to bring up some predictions I made.
Oh, yes, please.
Now, these predictions were made August 14th, okay? Long time ago.
Yep.
And I was trying to make predictions about what would happen through the early part of the season based solely on the schedule, which had been released that week.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fun to go back through them
and
please. see how well or poorly I did. So my first prediction, by mid-November, we're there, Orlando is the top seed in the East and has the overall best record in the NBA.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. But listen to this. The reason I said that, they did not play a Western Conference team until November 10th.
Yeah.
And that team was Portland. They don't play their first Western Conference team that made the playoffs until November 16th. It hasn't even happened yet.
Oh, no.
So that's a little worrying. Like this early start that's been rough. It's been like an easier schedule, at least in terms of facing Western Conference opponents.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, not great. My second prediction. So we're not going to give me any points on that first one.
Yeah, 0 points.
0 points.
Negative points.
Not negative.
Okay.
Not negative. My second prediction, by mid-November, Philadelphia is a top 4 seed and Sixers fans are finally sucked in again.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Let's go.
Now I was watching this week because like they needed to win one more game to get back into the top 4. Because they're 7-4. They could have easily been 6-5.
Yeah.
But they are 7-4. They are currently the 3 seed, so this counts. And but I do want to like point this out. Like the reason I said this was because their schedule was so cake. They haven't played a Western Conference team. It hasn't happened yet, Andrew.
That is weird.
It happens on November. It happens on November 17th. They don't play their second Western Conference team until December 2nd.
What?
That means 19 of their first 20 games against the Eastern Conference.
That's straight up weird. And their next, we'll learn a lot about this team because they got Detroit, the Clippers. You got Toronto, who's played well lately, Milwaukee, Miami, Orlando. Like we'll learn some stuff.
So point for that one. Third prediction. Coming off their strong second half finish, preseason hopes for the Blazers will be quickly dashed due to the brutal opening schedule. Shout out to the Blazers. They have fought this off.
Yeah, they have.
They have fought this off. They are currently 6-5. Now, I did bring up the stretch that they are currently in, which is a 5-game road trip from November 8th to the 16th, where they play every other night in a different city. And they did start off that road trip so far 1-2. So we'll see. But they had a brutal opening schedule. In their first 13 games, it was 11 Western Conference teams, Miami and Orlando. Of course, I thought Orlando was going to be great at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, they've fended it off. And I would say if you're a Blazers fan, like being 500 through this early stretch, that's incredible because it's going to lighten up. And this team has the type of team that's going to destroy bad teams. When they start playing some of these land of the lost teams, they're going to kill them.
They don't have many coming up though.
No,
like they're next. I mean, they've got Houston. Well, Dallas is bad. Phoenix, Chicago, Golden State, OKC, Milwaukee, San Antonio, OKC.
All right. Well, they just got to keep proving it. Just keep proving it. It'll happen eventually, guys. I promise. There are Brooklyn games on the schedule eventually. So no points for that one. My fourth prediction. Man, I love this one. Trade rumors will start early for the Sacramento Kings just this week. Carmichael Dave report. The Kings are looking at trades for Sabonis, Levine, DeRozan. Happened this week.
Yeah,
perfect timing.
Wow.
They've had a brutal schedule. I've said this stat so many times, but 9 of their first 18 games, OKC, Denver, and Minnesota.
Yeah.
9 of their first 8. They never had a shot. Doug Christie
No.
never had a chance. With
No.
that schedule and this roster, it was never gonna happen. Never.
No. No. Yeah. Yeah. Sam Amick reported that there's interest in Domantas Sabonis throughout the league.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and no interest in Zach LaVine. So
I saw that post on Reddit, and the first comment was like, "You didn't have to say it like that." But that was why I hated that trade so much. It's like you're trading for a guy who is untradeable. The whole MO on Zach LaVine going back 2 years was like the Bulls just can't trade this guy. There's
yeah.
the trade market is frozen, like there's
Yep.
no interest. And then they trade for him. Well, of course, you're stuck with him now. Like it's
Yeah.
not going to happen. It's not like the Bulls got some amazing return when they traded him.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine being the Bulls at that trade? Like, like the Kings and the Spurs are going to make this Fox trade, and then
Yeah.
like you pick up the phone and like, you want to do what? you want to take on Zach LaVine? That's what you want in this deal?
It's just you're
Great.
trading like the
Great.
best player on your team, first or second best player on your team, and you're getting back a package headline by an untradeable Zach LaVine. Like it was
It's
such
so
a
bad.
bad deal at the time. All right, so I get a point for that one. 2 points so far. Final prediction: the Spurs will be a top 4 seed by mid-November. Boom. Currently 3rd seed, 8-3. Another
Yep.
point for me. I
Looking
mean, I've
good.
talked about this with both the Spurs and OKC, but they just got gifted these early season schedules
Yeah.
where they're playing a ton of these bad teams. Now, the Spurs haven't played as many as OKC, but
Mhm.
they did get a lot of help from playing like Brooklyn. Although, actually, now that I'm looking at the teams they have played, Brooklyn, Toronto, Chicago, Phoenix, and Dallas. It's funny who those teams are now,
Yeah.
because like Toronto, Chicago, Phoenix, like those are all solid teams.
Mhm.
So it didn't really happen maybe for the reason I thought, but the Spurs are a top 4 seed by mid-November, so that
Yep.
is 3 points, Andrew. 3 out of 5.
Looking good.
That's pretty good.
Looking good. Another team that's kind of looking good is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're going to talk about them right after this quick break.
All right, Andrew, it is time for the Wheel of Fandom, the weekly segment where we spin a wheel, it lands on a team, and we become fans of that team for the next week. And last week, the wheel landed on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I believe for the first time in Slam and Jam history played 5 games in the last 7 days. Unsurprisingly, up and down week when you have 2 back-to-backs. The Cavs went 3-2. They had wins over Chicago, Washington, and Miami. And then the losses were to Miami on a buzzer-beating dunk in overtime and Toronto on the second night of a back-to-back, and again, the 5th game in 7 days.
Yeah.
Per Cleaning the Glass, the 8-5 Cavs had the 9th-ranked offense and 14th-ranked defense. Andrew, if the Cavs are our favorite team, who is our guest?
It's our guy, Carter Rodriguez from the Chase Down Pod. Carter, thanks for joining, man.
Oh, yeah. I'm so happy to be here. So happy that the Wheel of Fandom landed on my beloved Cleveland Cavaliers, though not so happy that about this stretch. I mean, come on. And let me also whine for a moment about it is unacceptable to have a team play 2 road games in Miami in a row. That is just
true.
asking for fans to feel pain.
Yes.
Facts. Yeah.
Although we got this magical second game that I don't think
know.
anyone was really expecting with like the Cavs bench.
No. Certainly, if you were to ask me which of those 2 games they would have lost, it wouldn't have been the one with most of their players playing, and not the one with led by Naquan Tomlin and Luke Travers.
Yeah.
So the Cavs are 8-5, which is perfectly fine, but not quite the 15-0 start that we saw last season. One of the issues has been the defense, which has dropped off. Do you think that this roster still has the personnel to be a top defense in the league, or would you move the needle, like, based on like perimeter defensive needs and stuff like that?
Well, it's I feel like this the start of this season has really been a real case of like you get what be careful what you ask for. Kind of on both sides of the ball so far, where Justin, my esteemed co-host, and I on the Chase Down spent a lot of the summer kind of griping about how base the Cavs defense would be. It was a defense that was not, while very, very good, wasn't really a defense that would make you feel them in the form of like a lot of deflections, a lot of blocks, a lot of steals, playing passing lanes, getting adding like injecting chaos. And that even goes down to like look at a guy like Isaac Okoro, who has been their perimeter stopper for the last several years that they traded to Chicago this offseason. Even though all of his defensive metrics have always been great, his stocks have always been terrible. He's not a guy who gets steals, not a guy who gets deflections, not a guy who gets blocks. So you bring in a guy like Lonzo and a guy like Larry Nance, two guys who rate super, super well in all the chaos stuff, and you go, okay, like let's see how that feels. And turns out you give up a lot more easy looks when you're gambling for steals and playing passing lanes and kind of breaking scheme in order to try to inject that chaos. And I think where they are right now on that end is kind of an open question of, have they swung too far in the other direction, both from a personnel and play style perspective, where yeah, they're gambling a lot, but they're also giving up a lot of clean looks, a lot of busted coverages and things like that on that end. And then like, you just don't know how much it matters that, Isaac Okoro is gone and you've replaced his minutes with Lonzo Ball and Jaylon Tyson. On-ball defense hasn't been Jalen's best trait, even though he's had a very encouraging start to the year.
Mhm.
And even someone like Darius and Max, who have been mostly out of the lineup entirely in Max's case, rate as some of the better team defenders by the metrics for these guys. Doesn't feel like it should feel this stark, though, I gotta
Yeah.
say. So I'm not sure if it's a focus thing, if it is a emphasis thing, but right now the defense definitely has taken a step back, and I'm not sure. Frankly, I'm still kind of in the. I know it's not the best podcast answer of I don't know, but right now I'm not sure what is leading to if it's growing pains on the road to something better or if it's just worse.
You mentioned Lonzo, and I wanted to ask you about him because Cavs moved on from Ty Jerome this summer. They brought in Lonzo Ball. I feel like nationally, a lot of people presented that as kind of like a one-for-one swap. Like they got rid of Ty Jerome, they brought in Lonzo Ball, but they play very differently from each other. And so I'm interested in what you've thought about his fit with the Cavs so far, since he is bringing such a different set of skills.
Well, I'll stay on theme and talk about the other side of the ball, the changes they made of the you wish what you be careful what you ask for. Because the other thing that the Cavs have had it over the last 3-4 years of this team's kind of journey is they've been a team that on offense has really relied on pick and roll play and getting relying on their guards to get them into the paint. Obviously, you have Darius and Donovan that do that at a very, very, very high level, though I'll note Donovan's drives are way down. We'll talk about that later. But they also have always had a bench player kind of crutch that could do that for them. Whether it's Karis LeVert for a couple years, that could just kind of run a downhill pick and roll and shovel a pass to one of the bigs who have unbelievable hands, great touch, great feet for easy buckets. Or they had Ty Jerome, who obviously played like a six man of the year last year. And even outside of the production not being where Ty gave them, which I didn't even think we'd get that from Ty if we brought him back, because like that was like bananas the
Yeah,
season he
yeah.
had for them. Um, that stylistic change, they're really having a hard time finding their way through it. This is a team that's really, especially with Darius missing so much time and Donovan uh appearing to pace himself, because it doesn't seem to be a problem for him to get downhill and get 2 feet in the paint when he really chooses to. But without that, this team kind of is having a hard time getting teams into rotation on the offensive side of the ball. That you mentioned their ninth in offense. A lot of their best offensive games have come with Darius back. And you've seen a lot more stagnation and ugliness without him available. And I think a big part of it's that trade-off. And again, we asked for this. We asked like, hey, like a crutch of Karras or Ty Jerome is really nice for 82 games. When they start getting on the scouting report in the playoffs, that just stops feeling as good. We
Yeah.
watched Andy just completely destroy Ty Jerome's spirit over 5 games
Yeah.
with the way they guarded him. But you do kind of forget it's nice to have for those 82 games, and I don't think they've quite found a way to consistently get teams into rotation. They've experimented with Evan Mobley doing a lot more play initiation, which you kind of, again, a thing I asked for. But it hasn't really borne a ton of fruit. He's not catching. They're not consistently getting the ball to Jared or Evan with advantage for them to make the decisions and use their their plus length, athleticism, footwork, touch. And as a result, I think the offense has just gotten really chunky and very, very reliant on 3-point shooting. Justin and I have talked a lot about how, at times they're playing Celtics ball without Celtics personnel. And yeah, I do think in a lot of ways this is a team that's finding their way on both ends of the ball. I know 8-5 isn't like I'm not talking about them like they're 8-5, but like I do think like this is the downside of when you ask a team to kind of change their identity midstream and integrate 4 or 5 new pieces of the rotation in real time, mostly due to injury in fairness, but like I do think there are some real things for them to figure out.
Let's talk about something good. Jaylon
Yeah.
Tyson, who has made
Yeah.
a leap from year 1 to year 2. Tell me what you've noticed about his development. Like, what are some of the biggest things there?
Yeah, well, he does something. I've spent a lot of time talking about things they didn't have that they're trying to inject. Something that they really didn't have from the wing was a plus rebounder. And Jalen is a really, really physical offensive rebounder, and just an active player. Like he's not a plus athlete on the wing, but he's got a great frame. Another thing they really haven't had on the wing is a guy who's just strong. And I only expect that to get better as he ages into his body. Still a second year player, but a guy who can kind of carve out position and get putbacks and help our relatively lean front court get contested rebounds by just kind of being an extra chaotic body in there. I think he's done really, really good job there. And then the 3-point shot has just been bananas. He has
Yeah.
really, really worked on his form. It's a funky form. It's like he kind of catches it and does kind of a no dip jumper where he kind of just gets it right up, kind of almost trebuchet style, but it's going in at a really, really high rate, not just in the corners, but on the wings, which is, what you really want to see from a 3-and-D kind of role player. And then he's shown just enough of that on-ball playmaking that we wanted to see. Like, I don't need him running 30 pick and rolls a game for the team to be healthy, but if it's a swing and someone's closing out, he needs to be able to attack or flow into a handoff or a dribble or a high pick and roll and be able to make the right read. His playmaking shots were something that really interested us from his college tape. That he's not gonna be that at the pro level, but being able to be a secondary playmaker is really, really important. A fun little fact. I always laugh when people say tertiary playmaker on podcasts because it's always like, well, then you're just like catching the ball and dribbling, and like that's not really playmaking once you get to tertiary. I'm sorry,
Right.
but yeah,
Like
he's
that.
showing just enough chops there. Where like if he's getting you 3-4 assists in a game, like you feel really, really good about the fact that he's operating as a ball mover, as the threat of the jumper is doing its job overall. And by the way, he started terrible. His first 3 games of the year had us being like, oh man, did we misread this? Because he really hadn't played meaningful minutes in his rookie year. He had some very nice like spot starts when the entire team was resting. But like we were like, man, were we wrong? Was the staff wrong? And then like ever since, he's just been shot out of a cannon and really one of the real bright spots of the season so far.
So we saw in the Philly game and the second Miami game that Jared Allen can be very productive for this team. Advanced stats suggest the Cavs are great when he's on the court, but his minutes are kind of up and down. And most notably, he only played 21 minutes in the first Miami game. He wasn't on the court for that final play in overtime. What do you think about how Cleveland has been using Jared Allen so far this season?
We always say that Jared is kind of the canary in the coal mine for the overall health of the team, and has been since he's been here, because he's not a self-creator, right? Like, that's just never going to be what he is. So if he's consistently catching the ball in open space where he can use his footwork and his touch, or at best as a lob threat, then it kind of just shows you that the overall offense is healthy. And I think that on his quiet nights, like there is a little bit of like, hey, you're one of the higher paid players on the team. You got to be more than just a canary in the coal mine. Sometimes you have to like lift the team up, not just be representative of the overall health of the team. So I'm not trying to say, Jarrett's without any accountability here, but on nights where you'll see, a 6.5 rebound game, generally he's not getting boards because he's covering up really bad point of attack defense and out of position to rebound. And when he's not getting a lot of field goal attempts, like what you'll see is he's just not getting thrown the ball. Like he's setting screens like he always does. He's diving like he always does. There's not enough kind of verve on the offensive side of the ball to get him to make the defense open up those passing lanes to him. And again, like he does have motor issues on a night to night basis. There are some days where if after setting 3 or 4 of those screens, he's not getting it, he kind of, can float. Again, I'm not trying to fully absolve him of any responsibility. I mean, he's called one of the core guys of this team, so the expectation should be a little higher. But with that said, like I do think some of those, the lack of drives are really hurting him. Like someone like Karis LeVert, not a perfect player by any means, but a few of folks in our Discord will sometimes call him a dump off merchant. But like that's not nothing. Like being able to get 2 feet in the paint and just do a little shovel pass to your big in the dunker spot for an easy dunk, like that matters, especially when they're guys who are as bouncy and have the touch that Jarrett and Evan have. So, like, I think what we're seeing is the offense not consistently create clean looks for their bigs, and Jarrett is probably the most dependent of the group on those clean looks to be the offensive player you want. With all that said, I was super disappointed with him not being on the floor. I think they have this idea of, and I've seen this over the years, but it feels stronger this year, maybe just because there's more speed bumps through the journey to start. It's like it's easy not to worry about any of this stuff when you start 15-0. So I want to acknowledge like some of this might be a vibe thing, but I have seen them be a little more apt to, once they downshift, especially if they've fallen behind in a game, they'll downshift. Makes sense, right? You want to get more 3-point shooting, a little more variance on the floor. And they have the ability. They can run out some really good downshift lineups that are interesting. And sometimes that means Jarrett is going to sit for an extended stretch in like the third quarter when you're trying to come back from 12 down. But what I would argue is, like, if you're on the highway and you're driving stick shift, I know like 9 people still do, including myself, by the way.
You do?
I do.
Okay, what are you driving?
I know a Mazda 3. It's not it's just,
yeah.
It was a financial decision at the time. But, if I'm on the highway and I know I need to get around someone or I need to catch up, so to speak, I might downshift into third gear, zip around someone, but I'm not going to drive the rest of the hour drive in third gear.
Yeah.
And what I've kind of seen the Cavs do is like they'll downshift and then they'll be like, well, that's the way we're playing the rest of the way. Like we saw in that Miami game, in that I want to say it was in the overtime, but it might have been late in the fourth. DeAndre Hunter bangs knees with someone on the Heat, and who goes to the scorer's table? Not Jared Allen, Dean Wade. And it's like I feel like there's been maybe a bit of a brain lock where it's like we gotta, this is the way we got back in the game. We gotta stay here, and that can lead to Jared Allen not being there to play goalie, and that you give up an alley-oop dunk with 0.4 seconds left, completely unimpeded. But I would argue, by the way, if you watch that play, Sam Merrill definitely messes up the switch. If Sam Merrill doesn't mess up the switch, I still think they score because he's not blocking a free run Andrew Wiggins lob to the rim. That's God bless Sam Merrill. He's been one of the best players on the team to start the year. That is not what I'm asking him to do on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah. And to the Cavs' credit, they hadn't seen a screen from Miami all night until that one moment. So it's tricky to cover screens whenever you haven't had to do it all night. Okay, last question. You mentioned earlier about the increased three-point volume. So Cleveland currently leads the league in three-point attempts per game and is only slightly behind where Boston was last season. Evan Mobley's taking 5 per game. Like, what do you think about this? Like, where are you at with this?
I think first off, they put up 65 in that Miami overtime game. That's the
That's
third most
nuts,
in
man.
that's
That's
the third most in
crazy.
NBA history. And like I will always say I'm not really that worried about the number. I'm worried about the how. Because in that follow-up game, the one that their skeleton crew won, they put up 47. That's still a lot of threes.
Mm-hmm.
But they had some folks like Craig Porter Jr., who had an amazing game, putting pressure on the rim. And like I think I don't actually really care that much what the Cavs 3-point volume is, like past a certain minimum. Um, if it is a byproduct of constant rim pressure and getting defenses in rotation. I think right now when we've seen this offense at its best, that's still what they're doing. The few games Darius has been back, I mean, it looks like a completely different team. Like my a running bit I have on our podcast is a very dated Hook reference. When the team finally looks like themselves, I do that. There you are, Peter.
Yeah.
Like that's like, and like when Darius was back, that's what we saw. We saw the guards kind of getting into the paint, running like a little bit more pick and roll, letting Evan slip and attack empty space, things like that. It's not just Darius, spamming pick and roll and getting to the rim. It's getting the Cavs machine going. And I don't really care if they shoot 55 threes in a game like that, because this is a team with a lot of 3-point shooting talent and guys that we want to see testing their volume. I want to see Evan trying 5 threes a game. I just don't want him dribbling into a pull-up with 22 seconds on the shot clock, taking some of those threes. And I think what we've seen is a lot of the defense is half in rotation, swing around the perimeter to a semi-contested three. And like, that's the stuff I'm just like, that's Celtics ball to me. And I don't even like it when the Celtics do that. And I don't think Celtics fans like it when the Celtics do that generally. So like, I do want to see it move, but I think it's much more I don't want to treat something I spend a lot of time with on our podcast is like, don't treat symptoms, treat illnesses. And I think the illness, if there is one, I mean, they're 9th in offense. It's not like it's a disaster. It's just a far cry from like the second best in offense in NBA history last year. But I think the illness is rim pressure and finding ways to make defenses react all the way down near the hoop, so you can find your 3-point shooters for easier threes than I think they're currently getting.
Well, thank you for answering all of our Cavaliers questions, Carter. Before we get to our game, as a Cavs fan, you've gotten to experience the diff every night on the telecast. Do you think it's ready for national implementation? Do you think the diff needs to be in all 30 markets?
I'm so glad you asked this, Alex, because in my opinion, there is no more overwrought, concern trolling behavior from the NBA community than trashing the diff. It's
Trashing
fun.
the diff.
It doesn't matter. Like, my argument has always been, just don't look at it. It's fine. You know what's really nice? I have 2 small children, and every now and again, my daughter will ask me, who's winning? Guess what I get to point at?
Point at the
For
diff.
a 5-year-old who's basically still learning to count, to give her a very quick indication of who's winning and by how much. I point at the diff, fellas.
Well, I'm so glad you're a diff defender.
I'm not even a diff. This is my thing. I don't even care. I'm indifferent.
He's diff neutral.
Rent.
Oh, he's indifferent.
But the world has gone so far in opposition to this harmless thing that I must step up. I'm the hero that Cleveland needs, not the one it deserves right now.
All right, and that brings us to Andrew versus the Beat, our weekly trivia show where Andrew goes head-to-head with NBA beat writer. This week, our guest, Carter Rodriguez from the Chase Down Pod. Now, Carter, how this works, I've come up with 8 questions about the Cleveland Cavaliers. You'll give me a number between 1 and 8. It will correspond to a question. If you get it right, you'll get at least 2 points. If you get it wrong, Andrew will have a chance to steal for 1, and then we'll go back and forth until all the questions have been asked and answered. So to start us off, Carter, I just need a number between 1 and 8.
6.
Question number 6. How many players have had a 30-point game this season for the Cavs? You don't have to tell me who. You just have to give me a number. How many players have had a 30-point game
Donovan
this season?
has. Evan has. DeAndre has. I'm going to say 3.
That is incorrect. Andrew.
4.
That is also incorrect, though. Carter was so confident in saying that a couple guys had a game that I do need to look it up. Okay, so DeAndre Hunter had a 29-point game.
Okay.
Okay, and then Evan Mobley, another name you said, he had a 29-point
Oh, my
game.
gosh.
Wow.
1?
So
Is it 1?
It is 2 because the other player is, of course, Jarrett Allen.
Oh, my gosh. I
Jarrett.
forgot Jarrett. Oh, my God. Terrible.
All right, Andrew.
I'm very bad at trivia.
The board is yours.
Number 1.
Question number 1. Per Cleaning the Glass, Cleveland is currently ranked highest in which of the following categories? Half-court offense, transition offense, half-court defense, transition defense.
Oh, boy. This is kind of tough because their offense and their defense is both kind of in the middle. Transition offense? I don't know. I have no idea.
No
That
way.
Is incorrect, Andrew. Carter.
I
you
know
have
for a
guess.
fact because Justin is a cleaning class merchant. He's been complaining about our transition offense ratings.
Okay.
I'm going to guess transition defense.
It is transition defense. That is correct. That is correct. Okay, Carter is on the board. The diff right now is 1. Carter,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, I'll bet everyone appreciates that. 8.
Question number 8. All right, Cleveland has 2 players with a 3-point attempt rate above 80%, meaning that 80% of their shots come from 3. That is, of course, Lonzo Ball and Sam Merrill. Name 2 of the other 6 players in the league who currently have a 3-point attempt rate above 0.8.
Wow.
So you get 1 point per correct answer. There's 6 other players in the league who have a 3-point attempt rate above 0.8. You can name 2 of them, but even if you only get 1, you still get a point.
Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield is incorrect. Andrew.
3-point attempt rate.
3-point attempt. Taking at least 80% of their attempts from 3.
Wow. Isaiah Joe?
Isaiah Joe, that is correct, Andrew.
AJ Green.
Oh, Carter, sorry. It's
Oh.
still.
Does he get to go again? If he gets
He
it right,
does.
did I blow it?
How
Don't
about
guess
AJ Green?
or you're a bad faith person.
Andrew, that's a great guess because AJ Green is correct as one of the answers.
Man.
Now, the other names, Royce O'Neal from the Suns.
Okay.
Sam Hauser. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Jay Will, Andrew. OKC has 2.
Jay Will.
Yeah, Jay Will. And Nicholas
Okay.
Batum.
I can see that. Nick
Nicholas
Batum.
Wow. I would never have guessed Nick Batum.
Wow.
Okay. So wait, if Carter is Cleveland in this scenario, the diff is currently -1 because Andrew's up 2-1.
And I am, for the record. I am
Yes.
Cleveland in this scenario.
Number 2.
Question number 2. What is Lonzo Ball's career high in points? Now, Andrew, you get to choose who answers first. You can make Carter answer, and then you can go higher or lower.
My.
Or you can answer, and then Carter would go higher or lower. Lonzo Ball's career high in points.
Wow. That is a very weird question. I'll say 31.
31. Andrew has set the bar at 31. Carter, would you like to go higher or lower than
Now, do
31?
I just say higher or lower, or do I guess the number?
Yeah, you can just say higher or lower.
I'm going to go higher.
Andrew, you were within 2 points. of
No.
the correct answer. Lonzo Ball's career high is 33, which means Carter gets the point.
Dang it.
And we are tied. The diff is 0. Carter, the board is yours.
3.
Question number 3. Donovan Mitchell currently making over 4 3-pointers per game, which leads the league. There are only 7 players in NBA history who have made more than 4 threes per game for an entire season, and we're going to name them all. So how this works, Carter will give me a name, then Andrew will give me a name. We'll go back and forth till one of you stumbles. So these are players throughout NBA history who have had a season where they have made 4+ threes per game.
Wow.
And how many players are there?
There are 7.
All right. And I go first?
Yes.
Steph Curry.
Great guess. That is correct.
I was about to be like, oh my gosh.
It's not Steph Curry. Clay.
Clay. Another good guess. Back to Carter.
Damian Lillard.
Yes. Andrew.
Buddy?
Buddy Hield is correct.
Whew.
3 names remain. Carter.
I don't think this is a good guess. I'm going to guess Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, unfortunately, that is incorrect. Andrew,
I didn't like it either.
you got one more name in you?
Oh man. I don't have another
You
good
don't have
name.
another name.
No.
in you. Okay.
I was really glad.
So I
didn't have to go again.
At this point in the pod.
So they're all currently active players. I believe one
Okay.
did it last season. Anthony Edwards.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah.
Another one, I mean, prime James Harden. You know, he's hitting a lot of threes.
Mm.
And then another guy who's done it once, Luka Doncic.
Luka.
Luka Doncic.
He had 4 threes a game. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good player, turns out.
Good player. Good player. We're learning that. Andrew, the board is yours.
4.
Question number 4. When did he do that? That was the 23-24 season with Dallas, the year before they traded him. Number 4. Okay, here we go. Donovan Mitchell is currently averaging over 30 points per game. The last time a Cav averaged 30+ points per game was the 07-08 season when LeBron did it. Question's not going to be that easy. I'm not going to ask you to say LeBron. During the 07-08 season, how many points per game did the second leading scorer on the Cavs average? Now, whatever you guess, you're going to get a plus or minus 1. So let's say you're a really bad guesser. You said 5.6 points per game. That would cover everything from 4.6 to 6.6. So you're trying to tell me the second leading scorer for the 07-08 Cavs, what was their points per game?
Golly. This is like the Larry Hughes Cavs.
I think most people refer to them as the LeBron Cavs, but
not me. Not
me.
The Drew Gooden Cavs. I saw Drew Gooden in OKC the other day.
Nope, you're stalling.
I'm totally stalling because this is a hard question. I don't know, 15. I don't know.
15? Andrew, that just covers it because it was Zydrunas Ilgauskas with 14.1.
Oh, no.
14.1. All right, Carter.
Was Mo Williams not there till the next year?
Yeah,
I think he was 09.
I think so. Now, Carter, I have bad news. The diff is currently -3.
We're in trouble here.
But there's 2 questions remaining. You can still tie this up. So what would you like to go with, 5 or 7?
I'm a 5-man.
All right. He's a 5-man.
I'm a 5-man.
The Cavs are taking and making a lot of threes. 4 different Cavs have hit 5+ threes in a game this season. Donovan Mitchell, Sam Merrill, and these 2 players. You get 1 point per correct answer.
Craig Porter Jr. is one of them.
That is incorrect.
Wait.
Did he do it last night?
He did it in preseason. I think he went 5 in a preseason game, I'm pretty sure.
Let me see how close he's gotten in the regular season. Yeah, he's only had 3.
Yeah, I think that was a preseason game. Again, let the record show I am here to protect the Slam and Jam pod from dead air. and that's why I'm losing. Let's see here.
Unfortunately, your time with this question has come to an
Okay.
end, Carter.
Oh, because I missed one. Got it.
But I will say, very impressive that you remember a stat line from preseason. I feel like that deserves maybe a ghost point.
It was more, I was just giving you love from like, I'll bet he's throwing a deep cut. Give me something.
Andrew.
Who are the players who you gave us already?
Donovan Mitchell and Sam Merrill.
Okay.
There's 2 other players.
Jaylon Tyson.
That is one.
Gosh. DeAndre Hunter?
No, the other name. Any other guesses, Carter?
Was it Lonzo?
It is Tyrese Proctor.
Oh, Proctor did hit 5 threes. I went with the wrong deep bench guard.
All right, Andrew, final question. You've got a commanding lead. You get first dibs on this. Evan Mobley, one of only 4 players currently averaging 1.3 steals per game and 1.3 blocks per game.
Wow.
I wanted to do 1.5 and 1.5, which was true before the Toronto game, but then he didn't get to that. So I had to go down to 1.3. All right. So there's 3 other players who are currently doing that. So 1.3 steals, 1.3 blocks. Name one of the other 3 players.
Oh, boy.
Who's doing that currently?
1.1, 1.3, or what'd you say, 1.3 or 1.5? Oh, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, it's really going to matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm just thinking.
He's just scrolling Basketball Reference right now.
Right, exactly. Where's 1.3?
I was winning.
I don't know, Giannis?
No! Carter.
Wemby.
See, that's what I thought the first guess would be, and that was my trap. Wemby is not doing that currently.
Oh, he's not?
Isn't that crazy? The names, Scotty Barnes is doing that.
Scotty.
Miles Turner, and then Walker Kessler, who only played 5 games. So
wow.
Doesn't even
okay.
count. Interesting group of players.
I don't think we would have. I think we could have gotten like 10 more guesses, and I wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah, I was not, maybe I could have got to Scotty. Guy, he had a great game last night.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
yeah, that one's erased from our memories here.
So that brings us to the end of Andrew versus the Beat. Congrats, Andrew. Back on the winning side this week.
Feels good. Something else that would probably feel good is go subscribe to the Chasetown Pod and listen to more Cavs content. Carter, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. Love this podcast. Happy to be on.
All right, Andrew, that was Cavs week.
Cavs week.
It was almost a double week. Getting 5 games in 7 nights.
That's a lot of Cavs.
That's a lot of Cavs. All right, we're going to spin the wheel of fandom. We will become fans of this team next week, and it's going to be the Denver Nuggets. Man, I wish this was next, because I happen to know their schedule, and I believe they're playing Houston next Friday.
Yeah.
So we're going to be recording before this like awesome matchup.
Yeah, that's true.
But oh well, it's still a great team.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime.
Ooh, maybe should this be our first Friday night pod, Andrew? No, it won't be. But
it's gonna be so late.
It could be.
It could be.
Actually, we are getting a great game on Saturday. They're playing in Minnesota. They've already played there once this season. I think they've won 5 of their last 6. Then we get a game in Chicago. Maybe Giddey will be back. Chicago's in a little bit of slump.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, we'll see how many points they can score against the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, boy. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that one. Hey, something else I can't wait for is you guys to leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Please do that this week. We'll read it on the show next week. Hope everybody is doing great. Enjoy the basketball, and we will talk to you guys again next Saturday.